1월 1일이 또 스타트를 해서 저는 오늘 양수역 앞에를 걷고 왔는데 한숨 자고 5시 13분이 지나고 있습니다. 오후. 자, 7시 밥 먹기 전까지 또 세상의 책, 하느님의 책, 영어 신문을 계속해서 읽겠습니다. Resilience, bounce back from whatever life throws at you, packed with practical advice to help you get through tough times. Chapter 9. With a little help from my friends making the most of other people, sticking together. As for the women who were barred from the hotel, they had nowhere to go and no means of checking into another hotel. Fortunately, one of them had friends on the island who were able to put them up. But things were about to get worse, despite the fact that they had been refused entry to the hotel. The women found themselves branded as fugitives in the press and described as being on the run. The police was sent in to round them up. The women feared incarceration in a Chinese prison, but were instead taken back to the hotel where things weren't much better. They were still locked in their own rooms, forbidden to see one another. Their sense of isolation was intense. Being resourceful and having access to mobile phones, the group managed to draw their plight to the attention of the world's media, who then lobbied for the women to be given fresh water to drink and to be allowed to move from room to room so they were at least able to talk to one another. Are you a natural networker? Networking questionnaire. I'm quick to pick up the phone. I like to work things out for myself. I always read about who's doing what in the paper or on the web. I prefer to email people rather than phone them. I'm not scared to ask for support from people. I would describe myself as an introvert. I feel uncomfortable asking for the favors. The Metabolism Miracle. Unlock the secret of Metabolism B, the key to a learner and healthier you. 3 easy steps to regain control of your weight permanently. A program to change your life. If you have the genes that have set you up for a lifetime of struggles with weight, the Metabolism Miracle will absolutely work for you. Before the Metabolism Miracle, you had little to no chance of permanent weight loss. With the program, you will reach and maintain a healthy weight. Your lab data will improve. The dose of medication that you take to control weight-related health problem will decrease or disappear, and you may avoid health risk down the line. Best of all, you will look and feel great. Game changers, what leaders, innovators, and mavericks do to win at life. Chapter 1, focusing on your weakness makes you the weaker. Focusing on your weakness makes you weaker. I call such limiting words visual words. People who work at Bulletproof know that I call out to someone in a meeting who uses the weak language in a subconscious attempt to avoid responsibility. Similarly, Jack says that he keeps empty fish bowls in his office, and if one of his team members uses a visual word, he or she has to put $2 into the bowl. This is meant not as punishment, but to show that there is a cost to using such words. Clear speech means clear thinking and clear execution. By listening to and analyzing the words you use on a regular basis, you can learn to stop unconsciously programming yourself to have limited performance. There are 4 particularly insidious visual words that you likely use many times a day without even noticing it. Use them in front of me, and I'll make sure you start to notice it, at least if I like you. Visual word, can't. This word is posted on Jack's list and mine too. It is perhaps the most destructive word you use every day. The word can't means there is absolutely no possible way you can do something. It robs you of power and crushes innovative thinking. When you say, I can't do that, what you actually mean is one of 4 things you could use some help doing it. If you don't currently have the tools to do it, you simply don't know how to do it, or you just don't want to do it, or heck, maybe no one in history has figured out how to do it yet. Given enough resource and enough problem-solving creativity, you can do whatever it is. It may or may not be worth the time and the effort to figure out, or maybe it's just a stupid idea, but it's not impossible. Visual word 2, need. Parents use the word need with the kids all the time. We need to go, so you need to wear a coat. The truth is, you didn't need to go, and you didn't need to wear a coat. Your parents might have wanted to leave, and you would simply have been cold without a coat. By telling your primitive system that you need something, you end up turning a desire for something into a straight-up survival issue. On a deep level, your primitive brain believes that you will die if you don't get the things you say you need, even though your conscious brain knows better. Visual word 3, bad. In reality, very few things are inherently bad. Bad is a value judgment you assign to something. The problem with labeling things as bad is that your subconscious listens and prepares you psychologically and biochemically for impending doom. The vast majority of the time, when you say something is bad, you actually mean that you don't like it or don't want it. Visual word for try. Try always presuppose a likelihood of failure. Think about it. If someone says he's going to try to pick you up at the airport when you land, are you going to count on him to do it? No way. You know that there is a good chance he won't show up. However, if someone says he's going to pick you up, you can believe it. If you tell yourself that you are going to try stay on a diet or try to read a book, you've subconsciously already planned to fail. You won't do it. Action items. Send your computer's autocorrect to automatically capitalize or highlight visual words, so you'll have to change them to more truthful words. It's amazing how frequent reminders drive behavior change. The point is that in order to become a better human, you want to push your brain to perform at its full potential instead of giving yourself an excuse to fail. On the AI revolution, unlock your artificial intelligence strategy to disrupt your competition. Section 1, The AI Frontier, Chapter 1. Who could have imagined? On the morning of Tuesday, September 11, 2001, the Western world's complacency was shattered when two hijacked commercial airliners slammed into Towers 1 and 2 of New York's World Trade Center, soon reducing the iconic monoliths of two piles of smoking rubble. Minutes later, a third hijacked airliner, American Airlines Flight 777, nosedived into the western side of the Pentagon in Alexandria, Virginia, demolishing a good section of the building's outer ring and the Naval Command Center within. 45 minutes later, a fourth jetliner, United Flight 93, also believed to have been headed for Washington, crashed in a field in Somerset County in southwest Pennsylvania after its passengers wired to their captors' intention, rebelled and overwhelmed the four hijackers who had taken command of the cockpit. In all, more than 3,300 people lost their lives in these four related terrorist incidents. In the months following, government spokespeople often cited a lack of imagination among defense and intelligence department agencies for failing to anticipate an attack of this nature, often saying, "Who could have imagined such a thing happening?" Ironically, imagination was not the issue. For at least a decade, Hollywood screenwriters had concocted numerous scenarios in which terrorists had commandeered civilian vehicles, including commercial airliners, converting them into weapons of mass destruction. Perhaps the most infamous of these prescient scenarios was writer-producer Chris's pilot episode for his X-Files spin-off, The Lone Gunman, which climaxed with a commercial airliner being remotely hijacked and flown straight into the World Trade Center as part of a bogus false flag terrorist attack, only to be diverted at the last possible second by the gunman's heroic action. It took nearly 2 decades for passenger train travel to completely fall out of favor with the American public, but even with the future staring it in the face, Pullman made only token efforts to adapt. With the demand for its product virtually non-existent, the company finally folded in 1968, just over 100 years after its founding, its name quickly disappearing into the mist of history. In 1981, in response to Sony Corporation releasing the first all-digital camera, Kodak commissioned an in-house study concluding that in 10 years, digital would come to dominate the consumer photography market. However, still wedded to their chemical and paper-based business model, Kodak's executives remained in denial. As late as 2007, the company boasted, "Kodak is back," predicting a resurgence in the traditional film-based photography market. Sadly, it was not to be. In January 2012, Kodak finally filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and over the following year shed most of its assets, including its multi-million-dollar patents. Today, Kodak remains a going business concern in name only, a shell of its former self. Finally, let's examine the tragic rise and fall of the company everyone loved to hate, Blockbuster Video. You should too. To fear or reject AI is to go down the same dark road as did Pullman, Woolworths, Marshall Field, Kodak, and Blockbuster, names once associated with success, now forever tinged with the patina of failure. To embrace the AI is to welcome a future that, well, to coin a phrase, you can never even imagine. Patina. Easy way to stop smoking. Everyone who read this book stops, and I stopped. Chapter 1, The Worst Nicotine Addict That I Ever Met. Perhaps I should begin by describing my credentials for writing this book. No, I'm not a doctor or a psychologist. My qualifications are far more relevant. I spent 33 years of my life as a hardcore smoker. In the later years, I smoked 100 a day on a better day and never less than 60. During my life, I had made dozens of attempts to stop. I once stopped for 6 miserable months. I hated every minute of it, still standing near smokers, tried to get a whiff of the tobacco. During those awful years as a smoker, I thought that my life depended on cigarettes and I was prepared to die rather than be without them. All smokers can find it easy to stop smoking, even you. All you have to do is read the rest of the book with an open mind. The more you understand, the easier you will find it, even if you do not understand every word. Provided you follow the instruction, you will find it easy. Most important of all, you will not go through life moping for cigarette or feeling deprived. The only mystery will be why you didn't stop years ago. At this point, let me issue a warning. There are only two reasons for failure with my method. Failure to carry out the instruction. Failure to understand. If, if you think you enjoy smoking, ask yourself why you absolutely have to smoke that cigarette but can take or leave other things in life, which are infinitely more enjoyable. The art of success, what no one ever taught you. Exemplars. Albert Einstein, 1879 to 1955, German-born theoretical physicist. He developed the general theory of relativity along with quantum mechanics. It is one of the most pillars of modern physics. Appendix 3 Sources. Each quote in this book was chosen for its message. Great care was taken to ensure correct attribution. Most quotes that have been verified using either the original source or another reputable source, but in some instances this was not possible. The author apologized for any misquote or misattribution. Recommended reading. How to read a book. The Day That Turns Your Life Around. Think and Grow Rich. The Compound Effect. Flow. Meditation. A New Earth. The Lessons of History. Lend me yours. Lend me your ears. Leadership and Self-Deception. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The Effective Executive. Disrupted You. Made in America. The Richest Man in Babylon. Acknowledgement. To my parents, thank you for laying a solid foundation for my life, a foundation mixed with the elements from each of the 8 parts of this book. Fortune is too weak a word. The Art of Success. Want to change your life? Then change your mind. perceive the world to your advantage. Change your mind, change your life. It's all in how you look at it. Perception create reality. Why not you? The beauty of life. We find comfort among those who agree with us, growth among those who don't. It will be painful. It will be painful, but these are some of the hard calls that successful people have to make. And if you won't make the call, then who will? Who do you spend your time with? What do they have you reading? What do they have you thinking? Who do they have you becoming? Each of us should reflect on the sort of people we have in our lives. While this can seem elitist, be under no illusion. You are in part the product of the people you spend most of your time with. This means you are likely to be about as successful as they are, and they either hamper or accelerate your success. And they either hamper or accelerate your success. Seek out people and environments that will challenge and stimulate you, that will get you to think differently about yourself and the world. Seek out the people and the environments that will lead you toward the type of person you wish to become and the life you wish to create. And distance yourself from people and environments that do not. Public speaking skills. Laying the groundwork. Dropping the ball and still managing to score. Life throws us curveballs sometimes. Have a backup plan for when something goes awry. Maybe the room has changed, or your allotted time is cut, or there's no screen for your slideshow. The world doesn't need to end. The audience doesn't even need to know unless there's some imminent danger. Stay cool. Wearing clothes that spell success. You don't always have to wear the power of the suit. Going to the opening of the community league barbecue, you are going to look like the dog in a suit. Dress in accordance to how others are dressing, but dress well. So you've now had an overview of the basics of public speaking skills. You can win, a step-by-step tool for top achievers. Winners don't do different things. They do things differently. Purpose in life. There are many kinds. There are many kinds of desires. Desire for success, desire to do one's duty even at the cost of pleasure, desire for purpose, something worth dying for, which gives meaning to life. What good is it if you gain the whole world and lose your conscience? The purposeless life is a living death. What is your purpose? Do you have one? What is your purpose? Do you have one? Purpose brings passion. Find or create a purpose and then pursue it with passion and the perseverance. Every day we need to ask ourselves, am I getting any closer to my purpose in life? Am I making this world a better place to live in? If the answer is no, then we have just wasted a day of our life. Life will reward us in proportion to our contribution. The earlier we find purpose in life, the better our life path will be. The greatest challenge lies in the unending search for the purpose of life, not only as an individual, but also for our family, organization, and the country. Once our purpose and values are clear, conflicts between self-interest and social obligation find a moral balance amongst themselves. We become aware of when to take a stand. That is when we start making the right decision for long-term gain rather than making the wrong decisions for short-term gain. We cannot help ourselves without helping others. We cannot enrich our lives without enriching others. We cannot prosper without bringing prosperity to others. Living with a purpose. All of us are put on this planet for a purpose. We are part of a big picture. But very few people discover their purpose in life. Most of us just exist and keep counting our days rather than making our days count. Dr. Albert Einstein was once asked, "Why are we here?" He replied, "If the universe is an accident, we are accidents. But if there is meaning in the universe, there is a meaning in us also." And he added, "The more I study physics, the more I am drawn towards the metaphysics. I would rather fail in a course that will ultimately succeed than succeed in a course that would ultimately fail." Purpose. A lifetime goal is called a purpose. To identify your purpose, ask yourself, if my age was 100 today, and I looked back at my life, what is it that I want to say is my accomplishment? The answer is your purpose, mission. A mission is an action that lead a person to a purpose through a philosophy. Philosophy is a guiding principle to live by. It is like the nose of the star. Nose of the star. Example, treat others the way you want to be treated. We need to define the above in our own lives, purpose, mission, philosophy. Self-esteem. Identify positive and negative behaviors. Unplug every day. 365 ways to log up and live better. Start a lookbook about favorite fashion finds using magazines, catalogs, and other tactile materials. Ignore the status update. Call a friend to really find out what's going on in his life. Be grateful and ambitious. Old rule, be grateful for what you have. New rule, be grateful for what you have and demand what you deserve. When I retired from soccer, ESPN decided to celebrate my career by honoring me with their Icon Award. The crowd screamed and laughed, which made me feel like a badass, worthy of the stage I was standing on. Call to the wolf pack, be grateful. But do not just be grateful and brave. Be grateful and ambitious. Be grateful and righteous. Be grateful and persistent. Be grateful and loud. Be grateful for what you have and demand what you deserve. The power of affirmation. Chapter 8, Affirmation for the Physical Body. Affirmation for weight loss. I allow myself to be healthy and happy. I am proud of myself and my body. I always think positively about my weight. I have a naturally healthy body and the mind. As you change your thought, the belief, feelings, and the action for the better, the circumstance of your life must also change for the better. Once you understand the reliability of this approach, you should find yourself feeling very motivated and inspired because that means virtually anything is possible for you. Every goal is achieved the same way, step by step. The 21 Success Secret of Self-Made Millionaire. How to achieve financial independence faster and easier than you ever thought possible. Committed to excellence. The quality of your life will be determined by the depth of your commitment to excellence, no matter what your chosen field. Resolve today to be the very best at what you do. Resolve today to be the very best at what you do. Set a goal for yourself to join the top 10% of your field, whatever it is. This decision to become very, very good at what you do can be a turning point in your life. Virtually all successful people are recognized as being extremely competent in their chosen field. Remember that no one is better than you, and no one is smarter than you, and everyone who is in the top 10% today started off in the bottom 10%. Everyone who is doing well was once doing poorly. Everyone who's at the top of his or her field was one time in another field altogether. And what countless others have done, you can do well. Here is a great rule for success. Your life only gets better when you get better. And since then, there is no limit to how much better you can become. There is no limit to how much better you can make your life. Your decision to become excellent at what you do, to join the top 10% in your field, is the turning point in your life. It is the key to greater success. It is also the foundation of high levels of self-esteem, self-respect, and personal pride. When you are really good at what you do, you feel wonderful about yourself. Being excellent affects your whole personality and all your relationship with other people. You feel happy and proud when you know you are at the top of your field. Here is one of the most important questions you'll ever ask and answer for the rest of your career. What one skill, if I developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on my life? You can't become good at everything right away, but you can identify the one skill that can help you the most and then throw your whole heart into developing that skill. Set it as a goal. Set it as a goal. Write it down. Write it down. Set a deadline, make a plan, and work on becoming better in that area every single day. You'll be absolutely amazed at the difference this commitment to excellence will make in your life. This commitment alone can make you a self made millionaire in the course of your career. Action exercise. Identify your key result areas in your current job. Weather for Dummies, a reference for the rest of us. Behind the Air Wars. How high the sky? There is no well-defined upper boundary of the atmosphere. It just gets thinner and thinner and thinner. It's like the thin skin of a peach, clearly defined on one side where it covers the fruit and the fudgy on this the other. Fudgy. You must approve of yourself. You can make the best plans in the world for your life, but no action, no accomplishment, no outcome will offer you ultimate fulfillment. You must offer yourself complete, unconditional approval, regardless of whatever takes place in your life. Those who considered themselves a success were 25% less likely to feel anxious about their lives, 14% less likely to be selfish, and 45% more likely to say they enjoy their lives. To the High Line, exploring America's most original urban park. Lost the graffiti of the High Line. Before the High Line was completed, there was enough graffiti on adjacent buildings to feed a Chelsea Art Gallery. Pitch perfect, how to say it right the first time every time. The curiosity principle. Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you'd have prepared to talk. Have you ever come from a party and felt exhausted? As if every conversation sucked the life from you like one of those demented creatures in Harry Potter? With any luck, those occasions are more than balanced by the social events that leave you feeling invigorated and happy. The curiosity principle. Teach your mouse to relax. Busy mouse, usually kicks in after someone had finished talking. Now the mouse had to shift from lots of movement during speech to remaining calmly stationary while listening. Just look just as curious when you are listening as when you are talking, but don't become robotic. Exaggerate the BFF if you have facial hair. Professional on-air reporters and anchors not to become a caricature of a TV news talking head. Under the food, fire up and fine-tune your employee culture. Part 1. The 7 Deadly Sins of Cultural Commitment. Commitment is an act, not a word. Take me to the river. Give them freedom from above, or they will take it from below. The original sin, failure to respect the power of an employee culture. Hit to the beat, and the rest will turn sweet. Give your culture context. Why is this happening? Give your culture predictability. What will happen next? Give your culture a sense of self. Who am I as part of this? Bottom line. Give your employee culture energy. Help to answer the question, what do you do? Help to answer the question, what did you do today? The original sin, failure to respect the power of an employee culture. Your employee culture will give you anything you want. You just have to give it what it wants first. Your YouTube secret, the ultimate guide to growing your following and making money as a video influencer. Finding a team when you are starting out. Then you need to think about creating a team. Friends and family can absolutely be your teammate. Do you have a spouse who help pay the bills or take care of the kids? That's your team. One of the biggest mistakes creators make is not to communicate a compelling and unifying vision with those closest to them. Have you shared your vision for building your influence online with your family and friends. Range. Why generalists triumph in a specialized world. Chapter 11. Learning to drop your familiar tool. Even now, even in endeavors that engender specialization unprecedented in history, there are beacons of breadth. Individuals who live by historian Arnold Toynbee's words that no tool is omnicompetent. There is no such thing as a master key that will unlock all doors. Rather than building a single tool, they have managed to collect and protect an entire tool shed, and they show the power of range in a hyper specialized world. The frog's eye view of individual paths is not enough. A healthy ecosystem needs diversity. We know how cells work, but can't predict the poetry that will be written by a human made up of them. Chapter 24. Give up if you only keep going because of sunk at the cost. Sunk cost. In economics and business, a sunk cost is a cost you've already incurred, then you can't recover. If you buy a non-refundable movie ticket, it's a sunk cost. According to some studies, losses produce twice the psychological effect than gains do. This means that you'd work harder to avoid loss than score wins. When coupled with the sunk cost fallacy, you have a recipe for mindless persistence when the only rational decision should be cut your loss and move on. Monitor your behavior and stop investing further resources in any endeavors where your only motivation is to avoid the loss that are in fact sunk costs that you can't recover. Think of your prior losses as the cost of learning. As the cost of learning. It's time to conclude your education. Quit, reflect, and move on. Speak with competence, overcome self-doubt, communicate clearly, and inspire your audience. Chapter 6. Navigating the Obstacles, Part 2. You are the message. You are the message. Everything you say is filtered through your personhood. So gaining confidence in who you are will revolutionize what you say, but you still have to say something up at the lectern. In the next section, I'll build on the foundation of identity and teach you how to convey your message in the best way possible, even when speaking off the cuff. Mars and Venus on a Date, a guide for navigating the 5 stages of dating to create a loving and lasting relationship. Stage 1, attraction. Although feelings of attraction are automatic, in order to sustain attraction in a personal relationship, we must also be skillful in presenting ourselves in ways that are not just appealing to the other sex, but supportive as well. It is not enough to say, "Here I am, take me as I am." The alchemy of creating a loving relationship is a very delicate balance of give and take. The blending together of male and female must also be done in gradual stages, expressing your most positive self. Without an understanding of the customs and manners on Venus, a man can put his best foot forward and unknowingly turn a date off. Johnny. The journey to get through the hardest journey, we need to take only one step at a time, but we must keep on the stepping. One step at a time may be tried, but it's still true. No matter the objective, no matter the destination, the journey to anything you want always start with a single step. Then step is called the one thing. I want you to do something. I want you to close your eyes and imagine your life as big as it can possibly be, as big as you have ever dared to dream, and then some. Can you see it? Can you see it? Living large. It's that simple.